Yo, what's up, family? Alright, I don't know what I'm going to say right now because I've been thinking about saying a lot of stuff, but usually when that happens, I end up talking about something different. I haven't watched your video, Matt, nor any of the responses about Corinthians 13. I have it sitting here, though. I just read through it once quickly. I remember reading it, but as I said with the section from Matthew, it's been quite a while. I noticed when I was reading along with you, I think we have slightly different translations of the text. Mine is kind of, it's, like original King James translation, so it's kind of flowery or whatever you want to call it. So it uses the word charity. I think maybe yours is love, I don't know. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil. Rejoice not in inequity, but rejoice in the truth. I like this part right here. Verse 7. Beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. What is our faith for? That's the question that provokes for me. What are we enduring? Like, what is the first noble truth? I keep saying this, but what is this idea of long suffering, of even of crucifixion, suffering as life, suffering as existence? Why are we starting there? What is the burden of the world for us? I have a tendency to think that many of these letters written by Peter or Paul, I feel they're very good. Okay. They're like I don't know. They're like the Eightfold Path. These letters, these discourses of teachers, kind of, to students, and what they're giving is technique. But we must always begin and end in the totality of creation and in the one Creator and the oneness of all things. Just as I ask that we not get stuck on words, we must also not get stuck on technique. The burden, I think, of the world that Paul is talking about in Corinthians 13:7 doesn't actually exist. There is no burden. It is written with an intention to encourage the adept along the Eightfold Path, or the Patanjali's eight yoga steps. I heard a Swami say that you can never do yama and niyama, the first two, the moral, I think what I read in a channeling they were calling the personality discipline. See, much of society, there's a lot of unfounded assumption that which is God is somehow the church, or somehow the technique, or what we call religion. We must not get stuck in the technique. So what Paul is encouraging is charity for purification. And I think also that these techniques, I want to try to describe it like this. The universe is vibrating at a particular frequency. And then when we depend on our minds, or reason, or logic, or desire, then although by our very nature we're resonating the single frequency of the universe, we're stuck inside a non-existent experience, I guess, in our minds. Like, the physical world is real, so I think somehow that this actually exists. I think it's an illusion in our minds. You see, it's in the mind where all of the the entrapment is occurring, all of the ignorance to the resonance of the universe frequency. So, given from below, given from the mind, what we call technique make logical sense. Does that make sense to you? That it's a logical thing to do, to give charity, to love. These can be moral precepts for a religion. But their efficacy is not in the logic of why one would do these things. The efficacy, I hope I'm using that word right, is in harmonious. By their nature, somehow they clear the channel so that the major frequency can be felt. Because they're just a vibration. They cause vibrational changes in the body that affect the mind. I don't exactly know, but what I meant to say about Yama and Niyama and the Swami is that he said no one practices those two, the moral precepts, because you can't until you've reached samadhi. And then all 8 steps arise at once in completion, not because you're building something, not because you're constructing or cleaning or making more precise your mind. You're just attuning to the major frequency, and in so doing, giving up your mind. Basically, one can't be moral until one is enlightened. But striving toward morality purifies. And what is this purification? What does this do? So when Paul says that charity is the way, he is doing 2 things, I think. He is, through what is very logical and very human, he is causing a vibrational change within the body to affect the mind, to start to clear the obscuration caused by the mind. He even says this. What does he call it? A dark glass. For now we see through a glass darkly. I think that's seeing through the mind. Okay. So the appeal to charity is an appeal to technique. And what that does is purify us through resonance with the major frequency and clearing of the mind so we can be in tune to our true nature. Also, charity is the likened end to our pursuit. Oh, how falsely, though, that word is applied here. Of the spirit. Unified. Without breaking. Without confusing again, ever. That which is and that which is not. After unifying with spirit. Consciously. Or in our consciousness. The dissolution of our consciousness. But in that same consciousness. Then we all become each other. And there is no difference between you and I. And so charity is the end result, is perfect love. There's no longer needs to be any idea of charity or striving for charity. Our very existence, our very centered oneness together, our very wholeness will be our charity, will be our perfect charity, will be our perfect love. We must not get stuck on words, arguments. We must not get stuck on technique. Everything begins and ends with the Father.